How are you guys doing? I saw that there was a few people that were waiting. You've already popped on here. That's great. Um, yeah, it is a nice mild day outside today. We're gonna start right off with the weather just because it had been dreadfully cold the last couple days. Minus 25 with the wind chill. And before that, we had a bunch of rain, which washed most of the snow away. Today, it is 9 degrees Celsius, much better. The snow is disappearing quickly, which means spring is on the way. All right, tuning in today. What's different about today from the other live streams? Well, it's the first Saturday in the month, so I usually ask a question of you guys, give you a month to send in your postcards, your letters with your responses to that. So I'm going to show you what those responses were that I've received. And then we're going to give you the new question for the month. And then, of course, you can always ask your own questions here on a live stream so we can have some banter back and forth. Let's get to what was last month's question. So the last month's question I asked you was, who is the most famous person that you've encountered and where? So I did get some responses come in. So there's a few postcards and a letter. I even got a couple people that put in a couple messages on my video from yesterday too. So I'll read you what those ones are too. I put those up on the comment field. So let's get going. The very first one, I'm going to start with the ones that were put on the video yesterday because there's no pictures or anything to do with it. I've got one from Renee Lewis. If you haven't followed her on YouTube, you should do that too. But Renee Lewis said that she was traveling and she was sitting next to the actor Kevin Bacon. Do you guys know who Kevin Bacon is? There's a famous game, 6 Degrees of Separation, which means that any person, any actor that you name, there is a way to connect them back to Kevin Bacon within 6 moves. Item Marie says, Happy Women's Month. Well, Happy Women's Month to everyone out there too. So Renee said she was sitting next to Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon and his brother, who are the Bacon brothers, had played a concert in her town the night before, and it was a 6 a.m. flight, and so she happened to be sitting next to him, chatted for a little bit, and then that was it. So that one, okay, we've got another one here from, well, Marzi Cat, are you on yet, Jane? She usually tunes into these live streams. Hopefully she's on. But Jane says she met the U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren, who was a Democrat, in the mid-2019 campaign when she was campaigning for presidency. And she even got to have a picture with her. So, yeah. Do you guys know who Elizabeth Warren is? I don't have her picture up here to show you, but you guys can Google it. Jilly B from Jilly B Living Her Life Her Way said she was in Liverpool once and she actually met Ringo Starr of the Beatles. So that's really cool. Her little story about it too is interesting. She said it was about 12 to 15 years ago. We'd been to the docks in Liverpool, looked up, saw a grand piano in an apartment block opposite the docks. Kind of looks like the bow of a ship. I pointed and said how nice it was in the window. And he was walking behind us, and he said, yes, it was. And we stopped to admire the grand piano and the building. I explained I love old and new buildings of Liverpool. He nodded and smiled. He said, then I realized who it was. And I walked away after I said goodbye, and I felt so bashful. I can't imagine just, Ringo Starr right there agreeing with your conversation or potentially just adding to the conversation and turning around and seeing him. That would be cool. So that'd be a neat experience. So those are the comments that I had on videos. Now I'll just pop off this. Now let's get to, we'll say hello here. Ida Marie has said, Lucky Renee. Phoenix Star is saying, good morning from Germany. Welcome, Phoenix Star. Yeah, Jilly, amazing experience to have met Ringo Starr. Now let me show you the cards that I've got sent in to me. The first one is this one here, and she's put the people that are famous that she's encountered. This comes from Media, Helsinki, Finland. She's a big person for figure skating. She said she once met Yuzuru Hanyu of Japan, her favorite skater, and she also met Brian Orser, who was a Canadian skater, and also a coach now. So that was her greatest encounter with someone famous. So thank you for sending that one in. Oh, Eric from Toronto is on. Good afternoon to you as well. Media, who just sent this card, is now on too. She said today she met the ice hockey players Jari Kurri, Esa Tikkanen at an event that was in Espoo. But yeah, so she's running into famous people all over the place. Jari Kurri was a famous Edmonton Oiler here in Canada in the NHL. He and Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier, Paul Coffey, Grant Fuhr. They were an amazing hockey team in the 80s and won many Stanley Cups. So anyway, I wanted to show you that. That was the card that Media sent. She also sent it online, so it doesn't have a stamp. You get to send your message in and send it in online. So thank you for that. All right, the next card that I received is this card here, which is really cute. You can see all the cactuses and the one hedgehog that is in there that she's watering, thinking it might be a cactus. But this comes from our friend Vera in Germany. Sometimes we call her herring salad. But she says she lives in the town where Albert Einstein was born. Does that count? It doesn't really count, but it is kind of a cool fact, that's for sure. She says, I remember one Sunday at church when I still lived in Stuttgart, the Prime Minister of Baden-Württemberg was also there. Must have been in around 2011. After the service, he left in a limo with his security guards. So I'm going to show you the stamp. That's kind of nice too, but I will flip this around so you can see. Give it 1 second, hopefully. This does not be a technical error. Oh, it's got to reload. I had it all set up. While it's reloading, let me read some of the messages that are coming in here. Oh, there we go. There was the then president of the area that she got to see at church. I didn't know him, so I thought I had to bring him up to show you exactly. All right, now let me flip this back around again. Read a couple comments before they get lost here. Eric said he met all of Team Canada from the 2004 World Cup of Hockey tournament when he was in Toronto. So Ida Marie congratulates him on that. Stevens says, have I met any famous people? Well, let's get to you guys meeting them first before you flip that question on me. Roger from Athens has said hello. Phoenix Star says, I've never met anyone famous, but that's fine. I'm so awkward in social situations that I probably wouldn't even say hi anyways. You don't have to say hi. There's lots of people that I've encountered. I've never said that hello, because most people are just people after all, right? All people are just people after all. So they really don't want to be pestered and bugged for autographs unless they're at an event that, kind of promotes that type of thing. If they're just out going about their daily lives, I don't think most people want you to run after them. All right, let's get to the next one. So thank you, Vera, for that and your encounter. Where is the next one here? All right, the next one. This one comes from, it's a nice Roadrunner card. This comes from Robert in New Mexico in the United States. And he says, the most famous person I met was Victoria Principal. I almost bumped into her as she was rushing to get to the set of a TV movie she was filming. It was at their local university library. There are the stamps on the card. And that's great information about the Roadrunner. I'm going to flip it around so you can see who Victoria Principal is. This is Victoria Principal. You might know her from the TV show Dallas in the 80s. She's been on many shows over her time. Says her years of acting was between 1972 and 2001. So she's currently 74 years old. So yo, Robert ran into Victoria Principal at one point in time. All right, the next one is this animated Star Wars card. And sorry, it comes from no, it doesn't. It comes from Katya. Katya in Finland. I'd say the most important person I've met would be Esko Aho. I met him in 1995 when he was still the Prime Minister of Finland. I took a picture of him playing at a slot machine in a small kiosk in his hometown. He retired from politics in 2003, and this is said Prime Minister of Finland that she saw while he was gambling. So that is the encounter that sometimes you kind of run into. Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Katya. The next one came in this envelope with a beautiful set of stamps and a souvenir sheet. And this comes from Monty in Saskatchewan, Canada. And inside he did a letter. So before I read it, let me just read your comments here. Roger said that he seems to remember around 5 to 6 years my mother had bumped into Ringo Starr in Weybridge in Surrey, where we were living. Well, there you go, another Ringo Starr encounter. That's cool. Welcome, Amber from Missouri. Stephen Kressel says he met Muhammad Ali at his training facility in Deer Park, Pennsylvania. He was 7 years old and received his autograph. That's kind of a cool meeting too, Muhammad Ali, heavyweight champion of the world. Amber, no, I haven't received anything from you. So this is actually the last thing that I have to show that I've received. So if you want to say what you sent, you can do that. Or in the following weeks when I get it, I will read it off. All right, let me read what Monty says, who lives in Ridgedale, Saskatchewan. He says, the stamps on the envelope are the answer. You know who these people are here? Well, he says, I've met both of them several times. The most memorable was, I believe, in 1986. Back then, I was a sports memorabilia collector. Still am, but not as much. Wayne Gretzky and Gordie Howe were in Saskatoon for a sports banquet as guest speakers. Back then, the radio station show was called Dane McKinnon's Sports Talk, and they were on it. I had a flash of inspiration and grabbed a thing for each of them to autograph. I expected a mob of people in front of the radio station on First Avenue just north of 23rd Street. But there was only about 4 of us waiting for them to leave the station. They kindly signed the programs I had brought, and that was his most memorable brush with fame. Now, do you know who Gordie Howe is? Well, Gordie Howe is this gentleman here. He was Mr. Hockey. He was considered the greatest hockey player of all time. He also was very physical, so you could have a Gordie Howe hot trick, which was a goal, an assist, and a fight. He was coined for that. And then he was replaced as the greatest hockey player in the world by this gentleman, Wayne Gretzky of Canada. Well, they're both of Canada, but Wayne Gretzky now is known as the greatest hockey player of all time. He holds so many records. He has more assists than anybody else has points. He also has more goals than anybody. He has more total points than anybody, of course, and so on and so on. His records go on forever. So Alexander Ovechkin right now is on pace to try to catch him in goals, but nowhere near his points or his assists. But we shall see if he does it. He still can. So let's flip that around. There we go. Those are the famous people that you guys say you have met, which is kind of cool. I like the fact that it was a variety of things. It was sports people. It was politicians. It was, what else did we have? Actors, actresses. So yeah, I'm just cleaning up the screen here behind me. What did you guys say? Ida Marie says, I sent my postcard 2 weeks ago. Oh, no. Yeah, it hasn't arrived yet. I'm finding that the mail between Canada and the U.S. has been a bit slower, and I'm not sure why. I'm getting things from Europe and from Asia within 8 to 10 days, and things from the U.S. sometimes are taking several weeks to get here. What else do we have here? Roger says, and then when we moved to Greece in 1966, later in April, May of 67, my mother and I met King Constantine and Anna Maria in a very deserted Athens area after the coup. Okay, interesting. Roger says, has anyone ever met royalty? I certainly have not met, as in physically shaken hands with them. Queen Elizabeth II, then Prince Charles have all come to Moncton and done tours. Princess Anne was here not too long ago. You can see I did a video of her. We weren't very far apart when she was speaking. So yeah, so I've had closer contact with some of the British royal family as they've come to town, but never certainly had the opportunity to greet them one-on-one. Ida Marie says, her postcard says, living in Washington, I was privileged to meet a lot of famous people, but the one that was the cool, oh, he met Andy Warhol in a bookstore. He was signing anything, even a shoe. So that's a cool encounter. Post-cross life says, I was wondering if Sean Bean and Angelina Jolie would have counted. Shortly met them in London during the BAFTAs with a ton of other people, got pictures but didn't converse. Yeah, that counts too. You got a chance to see them up close and personal. So yeah, definitely counts. Media says that she's met the king and queen in Sylvia of Sweden last summer in Alan. So yeah, encounters. That was how I wanted to phrase it, that you didn't actually have to get together and have a conversation with the celebrity in order to make an encounter. I was just curious whose path that you people have crossed over time. Michael J. Fox, I don't know if you know the actor, the Canadian actor. He was on Family Ties and in the movie Back to the Future and a whole bunch of things. He and I were on a plane together. We didn't sit together, we didn't talk together, but I passed by him. He was sitting in first class and I was back with the economy class. So I've run into people that way. Robin Williams, I went to a comedy club in Vancouver, and it was $5. You go to the comedy club and a bunch of people come in, and Robin Williams just happened to be working on a movie in Vancouver at the time, and so he wanted to come into the comedy club, so he was the last person to come on. They said, oh, we got a special guest. He came out and he did 30 to 40 minutes worth of off the cuff comedy in front of us, and I might have been 10 feet from him, so that was kind of a cool meeting too. Mark Sutton says, yes, I've met British royalty at Buckingham Palace. I was nervous on the invitation. Okay, Mark, you got to explain that more. Why were you at Buckingham Palace? What invitation did you get, and who did you meet? Eric says that he's had a beer with Sebastian Bach, lead singer of Skid Row, in a bar in Calgary, Alberta, here in Canada. Ida Marie says, met President Obama, not to brag, and Shirley Temple. Well, they're two vastly different people, but two encounters. Very cool. Well, I think this is fun. I'm glad to see that you guys have crossed paths with so many different people and have been able to share them this way. So from people around the world. So thank you so much for everybody who has sent something in and contributed a story, whether it was online, whether it was a physical one you mailed in, or whether it's something you're sharing right now, because people are going to watch this after the fact too, and I think they'll be impressed with that. We can keep going with your comments that way too if you have more. Phoenix Star says doesn't leave the house nearly enough to meet so many people. Well, maybe one day they'll ring your doorbell and they'll just show up at your house. Who knows? All right, before I want to put this aside, I want to read out the next question for March. If you want to participate, which means the very first Saturday in April, I'll read the answers out for either ones that you sent to me this way or yeah, something you to think about. And I'll remind you each week on it. So the question is very simple. What do you collect? So I know that my group of people that watch my channel are varied. We have stamp collectors, we have Lego people, we have postcard people, we have people that just like to go on adventures, and we have people that just tune in to watch the different things that I put out. So they might collect thumbtacks, they might collect miniatures, who knows? So what do you collect? That is my question for the month of March. I'm just looking around outside to see if people are walking by. All right, hopefully you guys will want to participate in that. I've enjoyed the celebrity one. I've had questions in the past about your favorite dessert recipes at holidays, and so yeah. And I'll also take other suggestions if in the future you want to participate and leave some stuff. So let me know in the future, and I'll read out your responses to what do you collect, and if you have other questions, I might take them into consideration for future months. What else? This morning, I watched the start of the Formula One racing season. So it was in Bahrain, and as per the end of last year, the same thing happened. Max Verstappen of Red Bull won again, and then his second driver, or Red Bull's second driver, Perez came in second, and then Carlos Sainz of Ferrari came in third. It was very a predictable season. Other than Carlos, it was nice to see him get up there. Hopefully, not every week and every race will be the same at the top of the podium. Eric says he collects junk. All right, well, you're spoiling it for the month of April. That could have been what you could have sent in. But yeah, we all have some sort of amount of junk around us that we collect. Item read because of the postcard delay, online comments. Yeah, it is a good, I like to have something physical that I can show, but certainly if you guys get to tune in on the day of, answering this way works as well. I'm just looking for participation and the fact that I get a chance to know you guys a little bit better too by doing these live streams. And for those of you that are on a mobile device, a tablet or your computer and stuff, if you want to give a like, it helps promote these videos and gets more people interested in watching them, hopefully. So that was this morning. We had the F1 race. I also went and saw my parents this morning. I had to run an errand with my mother, so they are well. For any of you sometimes that leave comments asking how they're doing, they seem to be doing very well. My dad is currently working on a puzzle that I gave him before Christmas. It is a Lego themed puzzle of the Lego space, of all the different color Lego spacemen that they put out, and a couple ships, and he's I would say about 80% completed of it already, so he's doing really well at that. These 1,000-piece puzzles, I'm really glad to see that he can still do them. Oh yes, Friday, yesterday, not only did I put out a video on what I received at the mailbox for post-crossing, direct swaps, and all that stuff, I put out a Stamp of the Month video about the Penny Black, the very first postage stamp, the adhesive postage stamp. So if you didn't get a chance to check that out, I would encourage you to do so. I really had fun putting that one together and getting the history of it, and so that was a lot of fun. I do have one that I'm currently working on with Snail Mail with Smokey. If you don't watch his channel, you should go check it out. Every month now we are doing stamp versus stamp, where we kind of do something a little bit silly but put some stamps in there too. So there will be a new video coming out with us. We have the same thumbnail, but two different videos, one on each of our channels. So that'll be out sometime next week, I suspect. Well, while things are a little bit quiet with your comments, we're going to do our little walk outside so you can see how it has changed. But it's a good time for you guys if you want to say what the weather's like where you are. I know you like to do that. You can go ahead. We'll pop outside. I don't need to put on a extra sweater or anything here because this is what it looks like outside now. The snow in my yard is all but gone. There's this little bit of ice on the sidewalk right there. My neighbor has a little bit here where the plows have pushed in for clearing the mailbox. My basketball net is not in good shape, but yeah, I can walk down the side of my yard here and see that it's just grass. My neighbor has a little bit of snow where he's cleared off his deck over there. So usually the only place you see snow is at the end of people's driveways where the snowblower has put it. Anywhere else, the snow has melted. It is a beautiful day out today. Like I said, it's about 9 degrees today. It's going to be 9 or 10 again tomorrow. So any little bit of snow that you see positioned around, like my backyard, I wouldn't walk through that because it is a bit swampy. But the snow is gone. Whether we'll get any more back this year, I don't know. Okay, what are the comments saying here? Phoenix Star says, I could send my answer on a postcard from Sweden. Been there last week, but sadly postage is crazy expensive over there. That's probably why there aren't too many active post-crossers in Sweden. Yeah, I have a couple people, a couple friends in Sweden that still send, but yeah, the price of postage is going up. Post-cross life in Finland is saying they're still very much in winter. Snow hip deep. Yeah, you guys got a lot of snow from what I heard from Media when she sent me messages that you were getting lots and lots. And Roger's saying stamps he collects from Greece, Cyprus, New Zealand, Britain, Cook Islands. But my first bug collecting is collecting vinyl, etc. from artists Connie Francis, but also Shaky Stevens and Cilla Black. So I'm sure you have a big vinyl collection then. Ida Marie says it's 34 degrees Fahrenheit, but daffodils are blooming in Washington. All right, let's get back in. So there, outside doing nicely. You can see there are still decorations all up from my wife's birthday, which was the 14th of February. But maybe because I'll have a 50th birthday this year, they'll just stay up until my birthday. All right. I know sometimes you get a little bit weary of me walking around, so we'll get back to being stationary again. So I'm not going to give out all my collections and things right now. A lot of you guys know what I collect, but I'll wait till April before we get into that. I know a lot of you may want to jump on that answer now, but save your collection answers for April. And then if you come on the April live stream, if you haven't sent a postcard in or a letter, then feel free to come on and tell us what they are then. Phoenix Star says it's 12 degrees Celsius and cloudy. Tomorrow is going to be warmer. Definitely going into spring in her part of Germany. Post-Cross Life, did you miss the new question? Well, the new question is, what do you collect? So whether it be stamps, postcards, spoons, surprise me. Let's see what people collect out there. Eric says 50. I can't believe you're going to be 50 this year. Yes, I am going to be flipping over to 50 as well. Time marches on. It doesn't stop for anyone. I don't feel like I'm 50, but then again, what does 50 feel like? And technically, I'm not 50 yet. I'm 49. So maybe when I'm 50, I will feel like 50. All right, so we have Eric in Canada, we have Post-Cross Life in Finland, we have Phoenix Star in Germany, Ida Marie in the States, Rogers in Greece. What else do we have here? Go back in the listing of people that are on here. Mark is in England, Media is in Finland, Amber's in the United States, Stephen Kressel is in the United States. Some of you may still not be on anymore, but there we go. That's everybody that's on so far or has been on that's messaged. So a good chunk. I thought maybe Stephen in Australia would be on, but I know it is dreadfully late for him. I think it's like 3:30 in the morning for him now. Maybe even getting closer to 4 o'clock, because I think there is a half an hour swing in one of those time zones for him. But I do apologize that I had to put this a little bit later than I normally do because I wanted to watch the F1 race. But next week, I probably will be back around the normal time. It's 59 or 55 degrees Fahrenheit in Missouri today. Well, that's great. Going to be a high of 65. All right, you've got nice spring weather happening already. What else? Oh, yes. Next week was supposed to be the stamp fair here in Moncton. I won't be able to go to the March version of it this week, so we're going to have to hold off and go to the April one instead. I've kind of put it out there asking you guys, what should I go in looking for? What sort of themes or something should I be collecting? Let me know. Eric's asking me if I caught any of the Yankees game last night. I didn't watch any of it live. I did watch on my phone a bit. I saw that Soto hit another home run and there was a grand slam, and the Yankees did beat the Jays in the end, so that was good. I'll really get into it when it's actual real season. There's all sorts of little games that get played. You know, Cole pitched last night, but didn't pitch for very long because nobody wants injuries and things like that. So I really get into it when it's regular season. Roger says that it's 56 degrees Fahrenheit in Athens. And Roger, we haven't yet booked our trip. We're still kind of looking into it, so still trying to figure out whether or not we are going to make it to Greece or not. But there's still hope that we will. Midia says that it is 0 degrees in Helsinki. I said it was a bit cold when she watched hockey because it was outside. Mark says life begins at 50. They say life begins at 50, but you're not yet 50. Tell me when the fountain of youth is. Tell me where the fountain of youth is. I don't know where the fountain of youth is. Clearly. I've lost my hair. I've gone gray. Oh, I feel young. I'm happy. Someone named I Love YouTube has just joined. Welcome. Roger's never been to a stamp fair. Well, if you get a chance to, there are lots of great things that you can pick up when you're there. What else? Sorry. So where is this? I'm just trying to get this position. It doesn't look like it's in the right position. What's that? Does that look better? Marie says that there's a stamp show in the suburbs of DC in April. A post-crossing meetup will also be at the show. Well, that would be kind of neat to go to do both. I know there's a few people that have talked about that, whether or not those two hobbies combine, and they do combine pretty well. I'm seeing lots of different meetups out there that are happening in different locations. So I'm not sure if we're going to have a meetup here in Atlantic Canada again this year or not, but fingers crossed that maybe something will happen. Eric says that he's going to the New York Rangers game tonight. Wow, so Rangers and Leafs. It's a nice ticket to get. I'll actually look to see how much tickets cost for NHL games these days. They have gotten really expensive. I guess like everything's gotten expensive, but yeah. As you guys know, my daughter Dea lives in Montreal, so my favorite team is the Montreal Canadiens, and ticket prices to go see them these days are not cheap. When I lived in Montreal, I went to lots of hockey games, including the All-Star game. It was the year the Montreal won the Stanley Cup. It was the last time the Cup was won in Canada, and my tickets were about $35 just to go in and stand behind a bar, and it was great. I can't remember how much I paid for the All-Star game tickets, but it wasn't a lot. Maybe $100. Eric says Toronto was the most expensive ticket. I can imagine. And lately, Toronto does well in the regular season, so it's fun to go watch them then. I don't know if I'd want to watch them in the playoffs because that's usually when they choke and they're out in the first round. Mitty wants to know if my daughter will watch the World of Figure Skating in Montreal at the arena. No, she can't afford to go see the hockey game, let alone go to see figure skating too. My mother-in-law really loves figure skating as well, and she thought about maybe going up to watch it, but then saw the price of the tickets, and she couldn't afford that. So unfortunately, a lot of those events, unless you've really put money aside for it, certainly as a university student, she doesn't have the extra money to do that. Phoenix Star says they signed up for the second post-crossing meetup, but it's in June, still far away. There's so many meetups in Germany, but sadly there aren't too many happening in her state. Yeah, Europe is filled with so many meetups. My friends in Austria seem to have meetups once a month in Vienna in the area. It seems to get cards from them. In Finland, I see meetups, whether they're virtual or in person. There's lots of meetups there, so I'm sure in Germany, where there are so many post-crossers, there must be tons of meetups. Stamp shows called fairs in Canada. I think it depends on the size of the event. So I know Montreal, not this weekend coming, but the following weekend, um, there is a stamp show that happens twice a year there. So I think it's on a much larger scale. But here, it's a smaller city, so I think we just call them fairs. As you can see from my videos, the number of people that attend are probably under 40 people. So a stamp show would have hundreds of people go to it, if not thousands. Media says they had a nice Leap Day meetup post-crossing this week in Espoo. Am I pronouncing it right, Espoo? You can let me know how I'm doing. My Finnish isn't wonderful. But that's a nice idea. Leap Day only happens every 4 years, so turn it into a meetup. Ida Marie, not many meetups in the U.S. I guess, once again, it depends where in the U.S. you are, because I have gotten quite a few meetup cards that have come out of California, so they must have them semi-regularly. Maybe not as many on the East Coast. Is that possible? I don't know. All region dependent. Like here, the only meetups that we have in Atlantic Canada are the ones that Sophia has come down from Montreal to organize for us. There's just not a lot of post-crossers here, or at least not a lot of organization within our post-crossers. But I do hear of meetups that are happening in, around Toronto or around Montreal, because they're bigger centers. They have more people that go to them. Marie, thanks for the clarification. Yeah, I think that's all it probably is the size of the event. Depends whether or not it's a show or a fair. Do you go to a car show that only has 10 cars, or do you go to a show and shine? They might call it if it's a smaller event. So it's all in the terminology. And if you like words, you're going to have to watch Stamp versus Stamp, which comes out next week sometime. It is definitely a word-based video that Smokey and I will be putting out. Or if you like stories that are being told to you, they go hand in hand. All right, what else? Get some good questions coming in on a variety of topics. I'm just updating the screen on the other side. One thing I have noticed by going an hour later than normally, our number of people have kind of decreased. So I don't know if this is kind of falling into people's day-to-day routines. On Saturday, they're out doing other things, so they're not around as much. Phoenix Star says he's a guy, by the way. All right. I apologize if I said female at some point in time. It's hard from people's post-crossing names or their YouTube handles and things to give genders. I find that sometimes too when I'm reading cards that get sent to me, if I don't understand or they haven't written their name on the card, whether to say he said, she said, they said, yeah. So yeah, Phoenix Star, thanks for letting me know. And thanks for always joining and participating. I appreciate it. I apologize for the dead air here as when you record on your phone, sometimes you get little messages that pop up. So I try to scroll them away so they're not taking up the screen or passing things through. I'll deal with them later on. Ida Marie says she likes it earlier. So you prefer it when I do it at 12 o'clock? I mean, this was at 1 o'clock, so 12 o'clock is 11 o'clock your time on the Eastern Seaboard. That seems to be the best time that I've found so far. I've tried to do it earlier in the morning, and Yeah, when I do it earlier my time, it takes out a whole lot of people, especially on the west coast of the U.S. that can't be a part of it, and sometimes it takes out some of my European people that like to tune in because they're doing other activities in the afternoon. So when I do it at 12 o'clock Atlantic Standard Time, it means most of anybody who's in the U.S. is up and around, and it also means it's closer to supper time in Europe, so some people are around for that too. So I think that's working the best. Media says it's quiet, Kay. Does that mean the audio is quiet? Can you hear me? Because that's happened in the past that the audio has died off when sometimes I get messages or phone calls come through. Ida Marie misses Stephen in the conversation. Yes, he's a big contributor when he's on. Are you guys hearing me okay? Did I get a thumbs up or I can hear or something like that? Let me know that you are hearing what I'm saying. Anybody? Because if I don't have audio, if you guys can't hear me, I'm going to have to stop this video. And oh, there we got a thumbs up. All right, you can hear me. Good. I won't quit the feed then if you guys are still hearing what I'm saying. Thank you, Phoenix Star, for letting me know. Before noon your time. So yeah, so Roger hears me. Good, good. Ida Marie before noon. So if I go at noon my time, that means 11 o'clock your time. Media says it's quite late there. It is 7:30 and she hears me. She has some letters to write before going. All right, well, make sure you get your letters written up and do all the fun things. But I thank everyone for letting me know that you can hear me and for joining. I won't sign off just yet, but let's see who else is out there and what other questions you might have. If you don't have any other questions, then we'll wrap it up. It's been 42 minutes. I usually run about an hour long, but where I started a little later today, maybe an hour is too long for you guys. You guys have other things to do. I don't have as many cards to write this weekend. Last weekend I had so many. I had 10 to 12 official postcards that I could send through post crossing, and I had 14 or 15 direct swaps. I ended up doing all my direct swaps on Saturday because post crossing had an issue, and then I ended up writing the rest of those postcards, I think, on Wednesday. So it was a lot. Now I think currently I've got 3 official postcards that I can send, and I've got about 6 or 7 direct swaps to respond to. So it shouldn't be as bad tomorrow. I have to decide how I'm going to do the video. My post-crossing ones, I still like doing the way I have been, where I kind of read off the post-crossers profiles and then show you the card that I selected. I tried with my direct swaps having a whole bunch behind me of postcards and randomly selecting, which kind of worked, other than one of the piles toppled over on me mid-pull. But you guys some people seem to enjoy seeing how I decorate the cards and why I select the stickers or the washi tape that I do. I'm trying to mix it up a bit though, so it's not the same every Sunday. My Friday videos are always different because I never know what the postcards and the messages that people send me will be through the week. So this week I won't have as many stamp videos either. Now I do have, there was a new issued stamp that came out by Canada Post. Normally on the day of issue I do a video on it, but I had it came out yesterday, and so I was already putting out 2 videos yesterday, so I wasn't going to add another one to the mix. And then we have things going on this weekend, so I probably will do a new release stamp video next week. Madia says she's decided that she won't send any official postcards for at least a week. She's only been getting US addresses and 9 of them are still traveling. Yeah, that's a shame when you always get the same countries. Not that there's anything wrong with sending them to those countries, or I'm sure those post crossers will still enjoy getting your cards. But it's nice to pull in an address for different countries. Jan's back on from Latvia. Welcome back. Phoenix Star, he gets so many Russian addresses that they always take so long to arrive, if they ever do. Yeah, lately I've had a pretty good mix. I'm always going to get and receive from Germany on a regular basis because of the amount of postcrossers. I'm always going to get and receive from the U.S., but I do get the odd one that goes to Finland or Belarus or Taiwan. When I get ones that are going to Russia or to China, I know it's going to take a long time, as you say, or if ever they're going to reach their destination. So hopefully they do. Jen wants to know how much money I spend on post-crossing in a month. I don't really break it down. I don't have to buy postcards, so there's no expense with that. I have washi tape and stickers, so I really am not buying a lot of that. I have gotten some through Temu, which is at a dirt cheap price. So my only expense really is stamps. If I had to guess, maybe $125 a month. Roger says, for the first Saturday in April, could you ask what TV soap series do you watch or watched either on TV or DVD? That's a possible question. I do like to hear what people are watching, what other shows are out there that maybe I could watch too. Ida Marie says, even for her in the United States, she's getting a lot of US addresses. As a Canadian, I hardly ever get Canadian addresses. I'd like to, but I'd be annoyed if I always got Canadian addresses because I want to talk to other places around the world. Phoenix Star says, decided to exclude Germany again from his pool. Had it active for a while, but it's just not as exciting to get cards from one state over to places in the world. Yeah, probably a good idea every once in a while to go on to post-crossing and exclude countries. So maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe you need to go into post-crossing and exclude the US for a little while and see what other addresses pop up. I haven't done that before, so thank you, Phoenix Star, for that suggestion. I know I have some people too, when they get Chinese addresses, they don't like to send to them because they hardly ever get to they've hardly ever get to their destination. So they feel like they're wasting their money. Oh, you can only exclude your own country. All right. Well, that'll work for Ida Marie if she wants to exclude the US addresses, but it will not work for Media. That's too bad. Maybe that's something we need to write to the post-crossing group and see if there's a way to do that, to exclude other countries. Now, maybe they're trying to get it so, if people have feelings towards or against one nation or not, they're not writing them off completely, because it's kind of a nice thing that even if you have preconceived ideas of a nation, sometimes if you write to somebody or get mail from them, some of those ideas get changed and turned around, because you can find out that not everybody is like what you may have thought. So maybe there is some good rationale in not excluding other countries. Just a thought off the top of my head. You guys may debate that and tell me what you think too. One of the things I know I have to do is I have to get a new chair. I've had this chair since I worked at my job out in Vancouver, which was at this point almost 20 years ago. And then I was working in this chair at the time. I got to take it home when they wanted to go to something else. Oh, Calico Heart is on. Welcome from Great Britain. So I think I do need to get a new chair because last week it really bothered my back after I finished the live stream. Sitting in it. Phoenix Star says, I don't think they'll ever give us that option because it's hard enough for them to match people. If people would exclude all the big post-crossing nations. There's not enough members left. Yeah, that makes sense too. That it would be done that way. Marie says she receives a lot from Germany also, but I enjoy receiving all of them. Treat myself to a new chair. Eventually. There are so many other expenses out there on a regular basis that right now I'm not doing that, just because I've still got to pay for stamps. I still have to do this and that. But one day I will treat myself to a new chair. Hey, maybe I'll get it for my 50th birthday. Although we're not doing presents for our 50th birthday, but sometimes my parents still give me some money, so I could put the money towards it from that. Our birthday presents this year to each other are that Phoenix Star says, where can I join? What are you joining? Ida Maria says she got an office mate interesting in post-crossing. She signed up her kids. They got Mexico City as their first country. They got Mexico as their first country, but they got Mexico City within Mexico. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, congratulations for spreading the word about post-crossing. I'm sure they'll be very happy with it. All right, Phoenix Star, you got to let me know. You said, where can I join? I don't know what you're joining. What do you want to join? Now I got to go back to Jan's comments to find out what she said. Calico Heart says, where did you get your polo postcard printed? Oh, you mean this postcard from World Postcard Day? I got them printed off Canva. So you can go on Canva and upload an image and pick the style of postcard you wanted. And I got them for a really good price. I'm not sure what's going on between Jan and Phoenix Star. This is a closed group. I'm not sure what the group was, so I may have missed a comment along the way, so you guys will figure it out. Yeah, got them for a good price, those cards. Actually, I only ordered 50 of them, but they sent me 100, so I ended up getting twice as many for the same price that I should have only paid for 50. So it worked out really well, even though I still have cards left over that I send off every once in a while. Canva, I like it for a bunch of different things. One, I love it for creating the thumbnails for my YouTube episodes, whatever you want to call them, the videos that I put out, but they also are great for printing. Phoenix Star says the comment didn't appear top chat. No, I haven't had any comments that appear at the top of my chat. You guys have to explain what you're talking about. I have no idea. I've lost something. Even when I go back in the comments, I don't see anything about it. The last thing I have from Jan says, how much money do you spend per month in post-crossing, which I answered. And I've not gotten a response from him yet, other than he said this is a closed group. Calico says, how am I today? Well, thank you for asking. I'm doing very well. I don't feel any ill at ease or anything. You're welcome, Calico Heart, for all the videos. I enjoy putting them out. Some of them take a lot of work, a lot of effort, and time to put together. My stamp of the month ones are ones that I have to research and find different images for and do things. So they take a lot of work. Ones like this don't take any work at all. You guys create the content and figure what we're talking about. I try to be positive. I try to be encouraging of the hobbies that we're talking about, the events that I get the chance to go to try to promote things. Who wants to tune into someone who's mopey and not having fun doing the videos? So yeah, I try to be myself, but I try to be positive for everybody. Every once in a while, you're going to catch a video of me on a down day, and sometimes it's just a day that I want to talk about other things. I used to have kind of chats where I'd kind of wander around the neighborhood and chat. I haven't done that in a while, mostly because it's winter out, but before having the ability to do live streams, that's what I used to do. I used to walk around and chat, and so sometimes I would have sadder days than others. Phoenix Star says that there's a way that I can do things that are top chat or live chat. All right, well, there's settings in here that I'm going to have to try to figure out too. Won't do that. Well, there's places I can start polls on here, add videos. Yeah, there's going to be a whole bunch of things that I can learn about. I know there are other things too where you can send messages that kind of break in and hold space. So they don't get lost in the feed. So we had a whole bunch of people sending messages all at the same time. Maybe that's what you're talking about, top chat. That I don't know if you have to pay for that feature though. You might have to pay for that feature to have your question or your comment pop up and stay up. But maybe that's what top chat is. Still figuring it out. So if you guys have ideas or know about things, you can certainly let me know. I see we're up to 8 likes and 8 people on. We're even, but I know we had more than 8 on at one point in time. I think the highest number we've all had on here at the same time was 22, which passed one of my goals that I originally wanted to have. So my next goal will have to be 30 people on the live stream at the same time. Hopefully all talking and doing things. I try to keep things positive. Yes, I do. And inclusive for everybody if I can. Media says, do you buy something like pastries to all the women at work next Friday, Women's Day? We used to get chocolates from a man called Silver a few years ago. Sadly, he left the company. I've never seen anybody do that. I also didn't know about Women's Day, so maybe it's not something that we advertise here in Canada. I'm not sure. But I also work in a building that has hundreds of people. I can't imagine buying pastries for all the women. That would be expensive. Item Marie says, just received 2 post-crossing cards in the mail, both from Germany. Well, happy mail has arrived on the weekend for you. That's good, at least. I had a really good week. I had 15 official cards come through this week. I think that may be the most that I've ever had in one week. But it was a bit of a catch-up because for the longest time my numbers were off by a lot. I'd sent a lot more than I'd received, so maybe they got caught up in the mail somewhere and then they all came through the same week. But it was interesting on a week that I didn't have a lot of direct swap show up, that I did have a lot of post-crossing, so it worked out. Calico Heart says they do have Women's Day in the UK, no cake though. Well, there you go. You have to push for sweets or something on your day. So that's nice of Media to be able to get free pastries, or I did at one point in time. She knows how much I like sweet food and things like that. Whether it is a ice cream or a donut or a pastry or a piece of cheesecake or carrot cake, yeah, they're all delicious. Phoenix Star said he got a bunch of cards this week because he had it on travel mode while he was in Stockholm, Sweden. Calico Cart says you have to buy your own cake. Well, you can, and then you won't have to share it with anyone, so that might work out in your favor. What kind of cake would you buy if you had to buy your own cake? I know what you mean, postcards. Because we talked about it earlier too, that you said that the price of postage in Sweden was up. That's why you didn't mail while you were there. Since being a postcrosser, I haven't really traveled outside of Canada too much, so I've never been on travel mode. And also, if I'm on vacation, I don't tend to write a lot of postcards. Calico Hurt got her first post-crossing card yesterday. Well, one, welcome to the hobby. I think we talked about that last week, that you are a recent member of the hobby, but congratulations on receiving your first one. That's good. And if she was to buy her own cake, she would buy chocolate brownie or lemon drizzle. I would probably go with chocolate brownie if I had the choice between those two. But I love chocolate. I saw a really good, there was someone who had a fresh croissant, and they cut the croissant in half, and they put chocolate chip cookie dough inside of it, closed it up, and wrapped the top with chocolate chip cookie dough, and then baked it that way. It looked amazing. And then drizzle it with chocolate on top. Yes, please. Calico Heart joined on February 8th, so brand new. You haven't even been in the hobby a month yet, so good that you've got your first card. The nice thing about you being in the UK is you're going to get cards a lot quicker, especially from Germany and things. You won't have to wait as long as us here in North America to get your cards. So it's a good hobby to have while you're in Europe. I love the love that is going between you guys too here, encouraging people within the hobby and encouraging people on the chat, you know, reaching out saying, we miss Steven being in the chat. He'll watch this video most likely after the fact and be able to see that and read that. So he'll be pleased that you guys are still thinking about him even when he's not on here. I have some people that I used to regularly message back and forth, and for whatever reason I haven't gotten cards from them in a while, and so yeah, you kind of miss some of the people that used to be on and used to communicate. New people have stepped up and continue to message, so that's nice that I'm meeting new friends that way, but you kind of miss some of the old ones too. Wonder what happened to them. Phoenix Star says we did pull a few people's profiles from Sweden before we even looking up the price. Then we had to pay over 50 euros for the stamps to send the few travel mode cards. Wow, that's a lot. You must have pulled more than just a few for 50 euros. Yeah, Calico Heart, it is a hobby that is a lesson in patience. So it's nothing, especially when you first start out and you only have 5 cards that can travel, and yeah, you might get a card every once in a while. Especially here, it was like you got 1 card 1 week, and then maybe a couple weeks you wouldn't get anything. If you saw my earlier videos of post-crossing, I was showing like 2 cards or 3 cards. And now I'm fortunate enough that I can show, between my friends and my people that surprise me from YouTube that send me in messages and my official post-crossers, I usually have about 20 cards I can show on a Friday now. Of course, yeah, there's 3 of you. You mentioned that before, that you had a group of you that were each pulling cards, so. And Phoenix Star, you're connected to Vera, right? Just, that's one of your group, if I remember. You watched my earlier for advice. I hope it was good advice. I've posted, not Vera's, no, it's not part of your connection. Okay, sorry. Does it even show right here? I can't remember. I think I've posted 939 videos to my YouTube channel already in the the time that I've been on. Oh, Karina is your sister. That's the connection, okay. Because she's been on the lives as well. Yeah, so 939 videos. So I haven't gone back to look at my early videos in quite some time, so I'm sure that they are somewhat cringeworthy. I probably would look back at some of these live videos and say the same thing, that I don't put together a script. I don't follow anything, especially with the live ones. I just come on here and talk and respond to what you have. So whether it's a good video or not sometimes depends on how active you guys are. Now, the ones that I post that aren't live, they are also unscripted for the most part. Ones that have history about them, like my stamp of the month, I usually do have to research a bit and to make sure I get the right information, but things like stamp versus stamp that I do unscripted. When I go to a festival, there's no script. It's just me exploring and seeing what's there and responding as I go through and what's popping into my head. There might be a bit of a storyteller in me at some place, so I can just ramble on and on for a little while, especially this way. Now, if I was in a large group, I probably wouldn't ramble along a lot unless it was people that I really knew and felt comfortable around, because I'm a bit more introverted generally. What do people say? Yes, good advice helped me get an idea how it works. Okay, well, that was the whole purpose of it then. Media says she'd love to travel to Germany just to send some cards. Their postage is something like 95 cents on the euro, where hers is 2.5 euros for an international stamp. That's a big difference in price. Item Marie says, film stars the same. I don't know what that means. Calico Heart says, watch your video from work. I think you hid the owlet from us, though. What's an owlet? Phoenix says her sister can't be on the lives often because they're usually working Saturday afternoons. Volunteer swim teacher for toddlers and children. Well, that's, and with disabilities, that's fantastic work. Sorry she can't be on, but I guess maybe you guys were on when I was doing the Wednesday lives. When I first started, I was doing a video on Wednesday as well as one on Saturday. That became a bit too much, or a bit too much regiment. It doesn't mean I won't go back to doing one. Like, if I have a week where I don't have a lot of videos to put out, a live is a great thing for me to do. Roger says, everyone, how many of you are on Callneck? And what's your view on the site? Well, I don't know what that is, so I'm not on it, so I have no view. We represent the family very well, Phoenix Star, so thank you so much for being on and participating. Calico Heart, I still don't know what owlery. Are you? Is this a... Okay, maybe I've figured it out. I figured out where you're going with this. When I'm at work, do you mean I hid the place where we keep all our owls that send all the letters by owls that end up going to like Hogwarts and things like that? Is that where you're trying to go with your... You're right. I did hide where we keep all our owls that deliver the mail. I wanted to save it for another video, so now the cat's out of the bag. One day I'll have to film where Canada Post keeps the owls. All right, Calico, I figured it out before you had to tell me about Harry Potter. It took me a minute, though. My brain wasn't there. I was trying to think back of the video I made about work and what I actually had in it. Connect is a stamp database and other collectibles. You can enter anything into it, and the huge... Is it for selling, buying, or is it for determining what a stamp is and where it's from? Once again, I'm not on it. I don't know it, so It's a good opportunity to learn. Both, okay. I will have to look it up. Actually, I will pop it onto my screen right here now. I have to grab my keyboard back. I put my keyboard out of the way. And I'll click on Canada. A stamp catalog website, okay. Pigeons also deliver the mail. You're right, pigeons were mail carriers at one point in time. I will have a look at it. It looks like it's got a lot of stuff, a lot of information. Yeah, I'll look at that later on. I think we're getting near the end of it though. We have been running for 70 minutes now. You guys have been great. Given me a lot of different topics. You've even given me some things to think about, like where we keep our owlery at Canada Post. But most of all, I thank you for all the comments, all the positive attitudes, and keeping things going here. We will be back again for a live next Saturday, so it will be another Q&A. I'll review the question once again that I've sent to you guys. What do you collect? If you want to send in a postcard or a letter with your response on that, I'd appreciate it. And the address, as always, is in the description of the video. All my videos, so you can check on any one of them to get that address. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from you guys. Calico Heart real quick says, is it snowing? It is not snowing. It's 9 degrees Celsius here. I did a walk around the house earlier, and it was it's nice outside. I can walk around like this outside. It's beautiful, and the snow is basically all melted. All right, see you guys later. Have a magical week.